Hello, I'm Trine and this is Hopspots. Hopspots is an interactive learning tool and it's designed for combining learning with movement in a really fun and easy way. Hopspots consists of these 12 wireless spots that you can see here on the floor. They have a total range of 20 meters on each side of this unit, so that means you can spread them much further out than we've done here. And actually the spots can withstand up to 200 kilos of weight, so they're very robust and they're highly mobile. Yeah. Hopspots obviously also consists of this unit here. The unit is designed so that it can store and charge the spots in here. So the spots have this print on the bottom of them and you put them in here and then they'll charge when you plug in the charger down here. The unit also has wheels, which makes it really easy to move around. It's made of a light wood material, so it's not very heavy. And then Hopspots also consists of an app for iPad. We have a speaker in here so that when we plug in the iPad up here, we'll get the sound from the iPad out of the speaker here. And that allows us to play a lot of different educational games, which I'll show you. First of all, the Hopspots games target kids from the age of 2 to 16. But because you can actually program your own content in some of the games, that allows you to use Hopspots for, well, actually everyone. So let's start with one of the simplest and easiest games we have here. It's a pure movement game where you have to catch red and green light. So now I'll start out with activating the number of spots I want to use, and I'll just take all 12 of them. There we go. Yeah, and now we're ready to play. Okay, so when I start the game here, the white light is going to disappear and then we'll see red and green light popping up around on the spots, and that's what we have to catch. So you have to imagine that you spread these spots really far out and then you divide a group of kids into two, and they'll be playing in red and green team who have to catch green and red light on these spots. But I'll be doing it now and I think I'll just go for the red light. So let's get this game started.
Hello, I am Ralph. Step on the red light when you want to catch me.
So there's a little speak here in the beginning of the game.
I'm on the green team and my name is Grace. The lipstick is on and I'm gonna give it all I've got.
Now we're ready to play. I'll catch the red ones.
Yeah, well done. Ralph, you rascal. We'll get you next time.
So surprisingly, the red team won here because it was just me playing. But you have to imagine that if you spread these spots really far out, it'll take much more than the 16 seconds it just took me now. And you can really get to move. There are lots of different levels in this game, actually 30. And in the beginning, you catch the light just by stepping on the spots. But you'll also have to do jumping jacks. You'll have to sit, you'll have to run and jump and press the spots with your hands and so on. So it's going to get harder and harder. And in that way you can really challenge get challenge on your movement. Yeah, so let's continue with another one of the games. It's also quite simple, but it's a lot of fun and it's really good cognitive training. So in this game, Sequence will be building up this order on the spots, and I'll just start out with the first spot. I think I'll take the turquoise one over here. Yeah. So one of the things in Sequence that's characteristic for Sequence is that each of the spots have an individual sound in this game. So that's also something we can use when we want to remember the order of the spots that we're making. Now it's going to be pretty easy because I'll be the only one doing the order here and remembering it, but obviously if we're playing together, a lot of children, you're gonna really have to pay attention to the other ones because otherwise you may end up screwing up the game. So I'll see if I can remember correctly. That was the first one, and then I think I'll add this one as the new spot. So now we're up to 2, and I'll just press the same 2 again, and I remember correctly, and add a new one. So we're gonna go on in that way, and actually we can go all the way up to 20, so we're gonna have to start reusing some of the spots because we only have 12 of them here. Just keep going for a bit. And this one. Okay, so that's 4. So this is a pretty predictable pattern I've made here now, but I could obviously have made it a lot harder. Let's see if I can, let's take this one. I think we're up to 6 now or something. Let's take green one over here. Okay. Yeah. So imagine you're doing this together with a lot of other people. You're going to really have to pay attention to the new spot that is added for every round. And if you get it all the way up to 20, I'm just going to say good job, because it's actually really challenging, and you really have to focus here and work together and help each other out. Because if you make a wrong step,
darn it, now we have to start over.
This is going to happen, and you'll have to start over completely from scratch. So a fun, challenging cognitive training game that you really shouldn't underestimate. It's actually quite challenging here. Yeah, good. So we'll move on to a memory game called Mix and Match. In this game we have 3 pre-programmed games that we've made. For instance, one with animals and sounds, and capitals and countries, and then with musical instruments and their sounds. But in this game you can also make your own content. And I'm going to show you in just a minute, but first I think I'll just show you the format here in the game. We have some different options. For instance, we can decide which language we want to play on. I'll set it for English now. We get to determine the number of spots we want to play with. And then as I said, we also have the option of recording our own content. But I'll just start the game here with animals and sounds, and I'll take all 12 spots to play with. Yeah, there we go. So now we're ready to play, and this is a memory game where I have to find something that matches in pairs. And in this case it's animals and their sound. So I'll just try stepping on one of the spots and then listening for the content. Sound of a cat. Let's see if I can find the spot that says a cat.
A cow. That's just crazy.
So that's not a match there. I'm gonna have to try a different spot.
A chicken.
Let's try this one.
Well done.
Yay! So that was a match there. And of course these spots that have now become a pair, they turn green, and you continue playing with the rest of them. The really cool thing here is that you can make your own content for this game. So this was the kind of the setup in the game, that you have to match something in pairs, but you can do that with your own pairs as well. So I'll just make a little math game here and create my own pairs. So I think we'll do some additions here. So let's say 5 plus 5. And then we can do equals 10 on a different spot. And I'll basically just be recording the content myself, so that I'll be the one coming out of the speaker when we start the game. 5 plus 5. Plus 5 equals 10. And let's add another. 4 plus 2 equals 6. 4 plus 2 equals 6. Yeah. And we can also use the camera in the iPad here and add our own visual content to the game. And of course we can just add more and more pairs. We can easily make more pairs than what we have spots for, because if we start the game over, we'll just the content is going to be redistributed on the spots. But let's save this game. We'll do that up here. And then I'll give it a little keyword. In this case, I'll just write math, so I know what subject this is for. And then we have different options when we share the game. So we can choose to share the game with this login here. It's called this user. that I've logged into to the app with, and then we can also choose to share it across an institution or actually share it with all Hopspots users. So that you can, that of course also means that you can access other users' games through the search function in Mix and Match here. But now I'll just share it with my own user here because my game is quite incomplete. Yeah, let's see if we can find it. I think it was actually placed somewhere here. Yeah. And of course I only made 2 pairs, so I'll just activate 4 spots to play with now. So now we're ready to play our own game here that I just recorded on the iPad, and I'll just step on a spot and see if I can find a match.
5 plus 5 equals 6.
That's just crazy.
So that wasn't a match there, but I'll see if I can find one.
Equals 10.
There we go.
5 plus 5.
That's a match.
So cool thing here, you can make your own content for the game, and that of course allows you to use it for anything really. Could be rhymes, it could be questions and answers, yeah, whatever you want to put on there to target it to your teaching. Yeah, let's continue with a different game where we can also program our own content. It's called Code a Spot, and it looks kind of similar to the other one we just played. So we have 3 pre-programmed games again. There are some music tones on the spots. There's like a movement game where you step on one spot and then it's gonna say run to purple, hink, jump to pink or whatever. And then there's also an interactive story. But cool thing here is that we can also make our own content. So now I'm just gonna program, let's say, the turquoise spot here. And I also get to pick the light that the spot is going to show in this game. So I'll pick some rainbow light because I really like that one. And then I'll record the beginning of a story here. There once was a prince. And just type in a keyword here. Yeah, step on it. Okay.
There once was a prince.
There we go. So there's a pretty little rainbow light on the spot now. And my idea with this was that I would record 12 parts of a story that I make myself on the spots here, and then have some kids find the right order of the story and place the spots physically in the right order so that they can play the story and see if it makes sense, the order that they put together. But of course, this open platform where you can determine the content of each of the individual spots, that really allows you to use Hopspots for anything. So it could also be math tables, or it could be the order of the planets, or whatever you want to play with. And of course, you can also decide if you want to use 12 or just 6 spots or 8 or whatever fits your purpose. So that's really cool. And then we'll move on to Flow Dance here. Flow Dance is a music and dance game where you first record a piece of music on these that you use the spots for, and then afterwards you can make your own dance for it. So we'll start out with recording some music here, making our own music, and I think we'll take some Latin here. And you can also add your own sounds here, and they'll be placed on the gray spot. So it has kind of a special role here. I recorded some earlier on, so I'll just put them on here, but using the red record button you can again record your own content using the microphone on the iPad. Let's move on here, and now we're ready to start. So on the screen you can now see that the red spot has quite a unique role in this game, because it's the record button, and that actually controls all of the other spots here. So we have to get that one started in order to play with the music instruments. And I'll start the bass over here. Yeah. So on the white spot we have a bass, and this bass has 4 small recordings of 3 seconds. So if I step on it again, we'll hear the bass still, but it's going to sound a bit different. And once more. Yeah, and the last one. Okay, so 4 recordings on each of the spots here with music instruments. Let's get them all started. Make a small piece of music. You can of course also stop the recording and start it again. There we go. So I just made a brief piece of music here, and I'll move on to saving it. And save it again. And of course we have the same options when it comes to saving here as well. And now we can make a dance for this music piece that we just made. So I'll place the spots here on the floor that I want to dance with, and I think I'll just take 4 of the spots because it's just going to be me dancing here now. But obviously if you have a lot of kids playing, spread the spots out really far, get them to move a lot, and use all 12 spots obviously. Let's take these ones up here, and so I'm placing the spots here on the iPad screen where I want them to be, because later on, if I'm gonna want to dance, do this dance again, it would be really nice to use to know which spots I used and where they were placed. So I'll take these 4 and record my dance. So I'm gonna start the music I recorded earlier on, and then I am gonna make my own dance on the spots here, which I think fits with the music. It's gonna be pretty basic. I'll have to see if I can do it again afterwards. Okay. So I'm gonna make it a bit harder now. There's a little pause there. That was it there. So a brief little dance, which I can now see if I can do again, if I can catch the lights in time. So I'll just save it here. Yeah. And then the point is with the dance here that you can now do your own dance off, and you can make a dance and then have others try and see if they can do what you just did. I'm gonna try and see if I can do it myself now. And I actually stepped on the spots 106 times, so that's my max point here. And I'm gonna try and see if I can do it like I just did. So when I start the game here, the spots are there's gonna be white light appearing on them, and of course I'm gonna then have to catch the light in time. If it changes to red, I didn't do that. But let's see if I can do it. See how many points I can get. Whoop. Whoop. Yeah, 90 out of 106, so I'm pretty satisfied with that. That was actually a really good result. So I'm gonna save my high score here, Then obviously I could have someone else try and see if they could beat me and score more points than I just did. But that'll have to be another time. Yeah. So that was a quick tour of 5 of the 6 Hopspots games here, of which you can program your own content in 2 of them and target it easily to your teaching. There is also the island down here, which is an interactive story and game for the 4th to 9th graders. It has its own video, so you can check that out later on. It's quite challenging, more challenging than these games I just showed you. They're pretty fast and easy to play, and they can be used for everyone. Yeah, so the island specifically targets kids from the age, in 4th to 9th grade, and challenges their communication and argumentation skills, because they have to, they're stranded on this island in the game and they have to figure out how to survive, and they read a story, and then in between they do these physical exercises on the spot. But check that out in the separate video, and yeah, that's it for me.